Okay, so what if we could like tap into this whole remote work thing, but make it work for small towns too?
Okay.
That's what we're gonna like deep dive into today.
Yeah.
Micro co-working spaces. We found this really awesome guide on how to actually start one. And yeah, I think you're gonna help us like break it all down.
For sure.
So, you hear co-working and you think like big city,
Right.
we work,
Huge. Yeah.
but micro co-working is different, right?
Yeah, totally. It's way smaller, more about community.
So can it actually work in a small town though?
Well, small towns are kind of facing this weird challenge. They're losing people, right? Young professionals, entrepreneurs. They're moving to cities for jobs.
Yeah, makes sense.
But at the same time, remote work is like exploding. So now people can live anywhere.
So you've got all these people who could work anywhere.
Exactly.
And small towns that need people.
So maybe micro-co-working can bridge that gap.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Right.
Huh.
Imagine this. A cute little town with like a main street. Maybe there's this old building that's been empty forever.
Okay, I can picture it.
You turn that into a micro-co-working space, a place where people can work, but also like connect,
Right.
be part of the town.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to get the vision. But the guide talks about amenities. Like, what do you actually need to make a space work?
Well, it's not about having like the fanciest stuff. It's about figuring out what your people need. Like if you've got a lot of creative types, maybe they want natural light. Or soundproof booths for recording.
Oh, yeah, for podcasts?
Exactly. Or even a little photography studio.
Smart.
Or if you've got people with families, maybe offer childcare.
Wow, so it's about going beyond just the basics.
Yeah, give them something special.
But that must get expensive, right?
That's the cool thing about micro-co-working. It's small, so your costs are lower. You don't need some fancy downtown location.
Right.
You could be on a quiet street in a converted house even.
I love that it's like embracing the small town vibe,
Hey,
no corporate feel.
And that means you can keep memberships affordable.
Yeah, that's huge for freelancers.
Right, and you can offer different options, like hot desks, if you just need a desk sometimes.
Flexible.
Dedicated desks for people who want their own spot. Even private offices for small teams.
What about those virtual office things I keep hearing about?
Oh, yeah.
That's like you get a business address but don't actually have to be there.
Exactly. It's perfect for people who work remotely but need a professional address.
That's so smart.
Plus, it's another way to make money.
So we've talked about what people want the small town vibe, keeping costs down. But is this actually profitable?
The guide has some pretty encouraging numbers. Startup costs can be anywhere from like $15,000 to $55,000, depending on location and all that.
Okay.
But you can make money from memberships. Plus, those virtual offices events, you can even rent out space.
So it's more than just desks.
Exactly.
How long till you actually start making money, though?
Well, if you have a good plan and you market it right, you could break even in like 6 to 12 months.
That's not bad.
And then you can grow, open another location, offer more services.
So starting small doesn't mean staying small.
Nope.
What about marketing, though? What works for these kinds of spaces?
Online stuff is important, of course, but it's really about getting involved in the town. Partner with local businesses, sponsor events, have open houses so people can see the space.
I love that. So it's about connecting with everybody.
Right.
Make it the place to be.
Exactly.
Wow, I'm getting inspired. Before we get carried away and like quit our jobs, what are some of the challenges?
One of the biggest is keeping those memberships coming, especially in a small town where you might not have as many people.
Right. You can't just open the doors and expect people to show up.
Nope. You got hustle.
What about unexpected costs?
Oh, yeah. Those always happen. One mistake is forgetting about maintenance.
Yeah.
Things break. You need to update stuff. Keep it looking good.
That's a good point. So we've covered what micro-co-working is, how it can help small towns, and some of the challenges. But what about the fun stuff? The unexpected perks of running a space like this?
Honestly, for me, it's seeing people connect. Like you'll have a designer sitting next to a writer, and suddenly they're brainstorming a project together.
That's so cool.
Or a local business owner meets someone who can help them.
Just like magic.
It's about creating a space where those connections can happen.
I love that. But running a business is stressful. Any tips for staying sane?
You got to set boundaries, take care of yourself, go for walks, hang out with friends, unplug for a bit.
Good advice. So we've talked about a lot. The vision, the how-to, the challenges, the good stuff. What's your one piece of advice for someone who wants to do this?
Do your research. Talk to other people who run these spaces. Visit some co-working spaces. And listen to your gut. If you're passionate about this and you want to help your town, go for it.
I love that. Passion, preparation, and gut feeling.
The trifecta.
So for our listeners out there, have you ever thought about working from a co-working space? What are your hopes and fears about the future of work? We'd love to hear from you.
It's funny. We started talking about like desks and Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
and now we're talking about the whole future of work, especially for these small towns.
Yeah, it's cool how these deep dives do that. You start with one thing, and then you end up like uncovering all this other stuff.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
Totally.
So speaking of peeling back layers, let's talk more about micro-co-working and how it can actually help these towns.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll admit, when I first started thinking about this, I was mostly thinking about it from the worker's perspective. Like, escape the city, find a cheaper place to live. But I hadn't really thought about what it means for the Terrans themselves.
And that's where it gets really interesting. Imagine a town that's been struggling, people moving away, businesses closing, and then a micro-co-working space opens. And it starts attracting all these people, entrepreneurs, artists, tech people, writers, all bringing their energy, their ideas, their money.
So it's not just about filling desks, it's about bringing new life to the whole town.
Exactly. Those remote workers need places to eat, shop, live. And they're bringing new skills to the community, too. They might volunteer, mentor businesses, even start new companies.
It's like a ripple effect.
Exactly.
But wouldn't some towns be like resistant to this? Like small towns are known for being kind of close-knit.
That's true. And it's something to be aware of.
Yeah.
It's not about forcing a big city thing on a small town. It's about finding a way to make it fit. Respect the local culture, but also bring in new ideas.
So finding that balance.
Exactly. A win-win for everyone.
I like that.
It's not just business. It's about making things better.
I'm getting chills. But let's be real, there's got to be challenges.
Of course, one big one is that perception that small towns are like behind the times. That's why people leave. They want jobs excitement.
Yeah, they want to feel like there's something happening.
Right. So you got to show them that small towns have something special. Affordability, community nature, but also that you can have a great career working remotely.
So it's about changing how people see small towns.
Yes, rebrand them as these hidden gems.
Uh,
And that's where marketing comes in. You're not just promoting the space, you're promoting the town. The charm, the culture, the beauty.
and a website that shows the co-working space, but also the best coffee shops, the hiking trails, the local events.
Yes, exactly. A guide for people who want a different kind of life.
Don't forget social media,
Oh, yeah.
pictures of sunsets, interviews with cool people,
Show people what they're missing.
create that FOMO,
Exactly.
but not every town is right for this.
True. Some are better suited than others.
What makes a town a good fit?
One thing is good internet. That's a must. And a community that's open to new things. A town that welcomes people from outside, that's excited about growth and change.
So it's not just the physical stuff, it's the vibe.
Yeah, you need that energy.
But even then, getting those first few members can be tough.
Yeah, you got to hustle. Offer free trials, discounts. Partner with businesses. Give people a reason to try it out,
And then word of mouth takes over.
hopefully.
Okay, let's talk about the space itself. How do you design a space that's welcoming and productive?
One thing is to have different kinds of spaces. Open areas, quiet nooks, phone booths.
So people can choose what works for them.
Right.
What about the look of the space?
It's not about being trendy. It's about reflecting the town. Use local materials, local art. Tell a story.
So it feels authentic.
Yeah.
What about those little touches that make a space feel special?
Oh, yeah. Those are important. Like a community wall where people can share their work. Or a lending library. Plants are always good, too.
Makes it feel more homey.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk money. What are the financial things to think about?
First, you need a solid business plan. Figure out your target market, your pricing, your expenses, and how much money you think you'll make.
Makes sense.
And you need to figure out funding. Loans, grants, investors.
So this is serious business.
It is. You got to be prepared.
What about unexpected costs?
Those always happen. Don't forget about maintenance. Things break. Technology needs updates. You want to keep the space looking good.
Right, got a budget for that. So we've covered a lot. The impact on towns, the design,
Done.
the money. What about the rewards that aren't about money?
For me, it's seeing those moments when people connect, like a designer and a writer brainstorming together, or a local business owner finding someone who can help them.
It's like magic.
It's about creating a space where those connections can happen.
I love that. But running a business is stressful.
It is. You got to take care of yourself, set boundaries, make time for yourself, go for walks, hang out with friends, unplug. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask for help. Build a good team, delegate tasks. Surround yourself with people who support you.
Good advice. So one last question. What's your one piece of advice for someone who wants to do this?
Do your research. Talk to other people who run these spaces. Visit some co-working spaces. and listen to your gut. If you're passionate about this and you want to help your town, go for it.
Love it. Passion, preparation, and intuition. So listeners, have you ever worked from a co-working space? What are your hopes and fears about the future of work? Tell us in the comments.
Wow, this has been a lot. From like the super practical stuff to these big ideas about the future.
It's cool,
Right.
right?
What really sticks with me is that community aspect. Like, yeah, we talked about all the details, but it's the people that matter, that feeling of being part of something.
Yeah, it's something a lot of us are missing these days, especially with everyone working remotely.
Totally.
And the guide even mentioned a study. People who work in co-working spaces are happier, they're more creative, and they just feel better overall.
It's not just the coffee and the chairs then.
Nope, it's the people. Having that support system.
So it's about finding your people.
Exactly.
And that can make the whole town better too, right?
Absolutely. When people feel connected, they care more, they volunteer, they support local businesses, they get involved.
It's like that whole it takes a village thing.
Yeah, but in this case, it's a village of remote workers and entrepreneurs.
I love that.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it. So anyone listening who's feeling inspired, what should they do?
Well, first, do your research. There's so much info, online articles, blogs, even podcasts.
Like this one.
Exactly.
Shameless plug.
You can also talk to people who run co-working spaces, go to events, join online groups, reach out.
Networking is so important.
It is.
Learn from the people who are already doing it.
And don't be afraid to dream big. The future of work is changing so fast. What do you want to see?
Get those ideas flowing.
Even the biggest companies started with just one idea.
So what are you waiting for?
Go make it happen.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive, but keep the conversation going. Have you worked in a co-working space? What are your hopes and fears about the future of work? Tell us in the comments. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.